point statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt Rheaume Miami Dolphins report with Marcel Louis-Jacques is in session.
Welt Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
All right. There you go, baby. Thanks to our friends at Welt Rheaume in Hollywood, servicing all of South Florida, offices in the Keys, too. So anywhere, even our listeners in Orlando are hiring people here at Welt Rheaume. So make sure you call them. Marcel is out in the links. He's done with the Mike McDaniel press conference. I guess it was a good press conference for Dolphin fans, right? Because Robert Jones will be back in 4 to 6 weeks. A-Chain is week to week, and it looks like Saubert and
Mike White,
the other one? No, Gaskin and aren't necessarily, they're not. It's not serious. Any of their injuries.
Yeah, it's nothing, and even including Teron Armstead in that, who we got an update on Saturday. None of these are to the severity that like the Jalen Ramsey injury was. These are all going to be, a couple weeks, few weeks. A month and a half in Robert Jones' case. So nothing dramatic. I know, for if anybody wasn't watching the game and they saw a tweet that said, A-Chain is carted off the field, like obviously you hear that and your stomach turns if you're a Dolphins fan, but it wasn't the case. He was able to get to that sideline. If you saw that on the TV camera, saw him hanging his shoulder, his arm low. It was just the case where NRG Stadium or whatever they call it now, Stadium, I don't remember which is the old, which is the new. It's a big stadium and the locker room's far away. So the cart is just the quickest way to get somebody back to the locker room. And we try to explain that every time somebody is carted off. But obviously, when you hear that image of somebody being stretchered off the field, kind of comes to the forefront. But it's not serious for Devon A-Chain. McDaniel said he avoided anything severe.
And this is our second time. We got to kind of learn because we tried to walk people off the ledge with Teron and said, "Yo, let's wait till we actually hear something." And so this is the second time now that you've heard somebody go on a cart, and it's not season ending or anything like that. So that's why we got to kind of hold our judgment and stop panicking. And I get it, man. It's 20-something years of such incompetence that people are just expecting for the next shoe to drop or something. It's like Dolphin fans feel like they can't have good things. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like that. And to me, I just think this whole situation, I think they have a front office. I think they have a coaching staff. I just think they had a shitload of bad luck last year. If not, they would have had a much better season. And I think they're headed for a great season this year. I really do, man. It's just, if you have bad luck, hey, man, that can derail anybody's season. I totally understand that. But it's just, I wish people would give themselves a chance to actually enjoy what's going on, because that was a really nice performance on Saturday, by the way. And I thought it was beautiful that it started with the adversity. I thought that was great for that day, actually.
Yeah, you're not the only one. McDaniel, one of the first things he brought up was, we all hear it every day. Adversity is opportunity. That's like his core. It's his core mantra. So for Tua to reach that adversity or hit that adversity right away, not just Tua, because obviously the defense is put in a tough position right away, having to defend its goal line, as soon as it touches the turf for the first time. But for them to force a turnover on downs, which, it's preseason, maybe they would have kicked the field goal. Kaimi Fairbairn's pretty good kicker. They probably would have kicked the field goal in the season. But either way, just to hold them from, getting a touchdown is notable. And then for the offense to march down the field 93 yards and 14 plays, that is a textbook drive. 2 or 3 for 3 on third down. He had a couple pinpoint accuracy throws, even after that first snap was botched. And like we said, Connor Williams, he's ramping up as well. Like he's got some rust to shake off still as well. You don't like to see that in a game, but you rather get them out the way against Houston in August rather than against the Chargers in September.
Yeah, and everybody settled down after that too. So after the bad snap and everything, he settled down 2. And how about the performance of the offensive line? I mean, after all this Cook talk, and maybe that's why the Dolphins weren't panicking about the running game and weren't panicking about their offensive line. Both in those instances, both McDaniel and even Chris Greer, when asked, they weren't desperate for a running back, and they weren't desperate for, the offensive line, and they kind of felt that they had enough. Well, guess what? Both performed well on Saturday.
They did. They created lanes for the running backs. Running backs ran well. There was a situation where Will Anderson got a clean lick at Skylar Thompson, but that was more of a running back issue than an offensive line issue. And Will Anderson is going to be very, very good. So I thought it was a positive. It was for sure a positive performance all around.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun to watch the running game, and coming off of, you have something on the beat that you don't see a lot of. Okay. In fact, how many times have you heard a coach pretty much admit that he was wrong, flat out wrong, and tell you that he apologized to a player? And he was wrong for not using the running game enough last year, and he even apologized to Mostert for not leaning more on them when there were opportunities for him to lean more on them. Just kind of like this week, when you saw Tua and you're like, hey, you're asking about the interception. He's telling you, dude, it was just a terrible decision on my part.
Yeah,
or when he
last year, that was my bad.
Yeah, when he told you last year, I didn't know the playbook. The honesty that you're getting from these guys, you don't see that a lot on the beat. Usually coaches don't want to admit that they're wrong just flat out to the media like that. And quarterbacks are rarely ever that brutally honest about something that is their own fault. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty cool.
It shows a culture of accountability. It's a culture of accountability, and it starts from the top down. And that's why one of the things that Mike said when last year that stood out, when people were skeptical of his ability to lead a locker room full of men like that, is as long as guys see that you have their best interest at heart, like you are in this to get them better, then they will trust you and they'll follow you to the gates of hell. So for a coach to say, yeah, that was my bad, I didn't use you properly, the recognition and the accountability of that. So the culture is good here in Miami. They lost 5 games in a row, 4 or 5 games in a row last year, and didn't flinch. So the culture is fine here in this locker room, especially with Mike at the helm.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. All right, you start to look at the quarterback position in that battle. Mike White apparently got dinged up. He's in concussion protocol. But Skylar Thompson, dude, he was large and in charge on Saturday. And, when you're playing against the backups and you're a seasoned person, which now he's in his second year, you're supposed to show improvement. And improvement by saying, well, I'm supposed to play against number ones. If I'm playing against 2s and 3s, I'm supposed to dominate you. I'm supposed to have some success. Dude, Skylar Thompson did exactly that. He was really comfortable on Saturday, dude.
Yeah, and we shouldn't really be surprised, right? We've seen him play in big time games in big time moments. Preseason, he shouldn't look like a deer in the headlights. So yeah, maybe it took him a few quarters to shake the proverbial rust off, but that's about what we should expect from Skylar Thompson. And of course, he also played with better players. He played with the second stringers before the third stringers, but it didn't really matter who he was playing with. The guy was putting the ball on the spot. So this was, I said it on Twitter on Saturday. Don't put a fork in him yet. The QB2 battle isn't over. Thompson largely outplayed Mike White at practice until about 2 weeks ago. He was outplaying Mike White, so it's not that big of a surprise. And then injuries happen, man. This is an unfortunate part of the game, but this wouldn't be the first position battle decided by injury, and it won't be the last.
Okay, left guard. Dude, what's the Eichenberg story? First they said it was an injury, then they held him out. What's the deal? And then what did you think of left guard? Did Isaiah Wynn all of a sudden become the lead dog for that position?
I think Isaiah Wynn is the more talented player at left guard. I think he's the more talented player. Liam, I think, got this far from familiarity and the system and continuity and all that. He probably shouldn't be the starting left guard. He probably shouldn't be the starting left guard. Like, you've seen it for 3 years now. You know who Liam Eichenberg is. It's not like this is a drastically different. This isn't like a Noah situation where, okay, this is a different scheme. Let's see what Noah can do in this. It's the same basic scheme that they've been running for 2 years now. So it's what you got there. I think Wynn is probably a better option. I think even Lester Cotton would be a better option. Robert Jones, I don't know if he was in the hunt for a starting job. I saw that. I saw that the other day on Twitter that he was like in competition for starting lineman.
Moser has to put that because the agent gave him the story and the agent gave him and all that crap. So that's why Moser had to put it. Even Josh Moser himself knows that Robert Jones wasn't getting the starting job, but he's got to follow protocol there with the agent. So that's why. I don't even think Josh Moser believes that. Nobody that follows the team knows that Robert Jones had no shot at starting. He's good depth is what he is. And the good thing is 4 to 6 weeks, 2 of the weeks, there's no football being played because they don't play till the 10th or the 11th or whatever the hell the date is. So he's going to have 2 of those weeks where it doesn't matter. So what, he's going to miss the first month, up to the first month? They'll be fine. That'll be good. Actually, there's a sliver of positivity out of it. It allows you to put him on the IR and keep another person that you can play with for, another person you can keep on the roster for a month. It might be an extra lineman. It might be an extra running back since you have a real depth of running backs there. It might be an extra DB. Whatever. This allows you to play with one of those positions for a month until Robert Jones gets back. So there's a little bit of a silver lining, actually.
A little bit. He still will have to be on the 53. Jones will have to be on the 53 initially for people to, just in case people forgot or let them remember or to get them to remember, in order to be eligible to return from IR, you have to begin the season on the 53-man roster. So, they'll have to make a cut somewhere for it, but, it might be a situation where a guy just doesn't, come to an agreement with, like, look, we're bringing you right back. This is just a procedural issue.
Okay. Where are you at with the Wilkins stuff? Do you know anything?
I asked Mike about it today if this was something that he was afraid could spill into the regular season, and Mike said it's not even something he's been thinking about. That he's focused on the guys who are practicing, guys who are there. That Christian has torn up individual drills for the past few days, but I can't help but to think that it could if he's willing to sit out in parts of practice. Like it only gets more drastic from here. Otherwise, like if you sit out of team drills and then keep playing in games, then what was the point of sitting out of team drills? You know what I'm saying? But like, I would expect something gets done quickly. They have to, dude. They have to, because without him on that defensive line, ain't no depth, man. There's no depth. Feely was hurt at practice the other day. I don't know how serious that was, but it's just Steeler and Davis, and Raekwon's can't play the same 3-tech that Christian does. So he's got a little bit of leverage here. I would expect, the smart thing for the Dolphins to do is sign your damn best players. I would expect it to get done soon.
Yeah, it'll get done. I'm still not concerned about it. I'll be concerned about it if we're like 48 hours away from kickoff. Then I'll start to be concerned about it and say, oh man, this thing's going to drag on. But I think it's just a lot of posturing going on eventually. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Damian Lillard situation. Once we get close to training camp, Portland's going to say, oh, dude, we don't want this guy coming here. We got to make this deal already. Nobody else is stepping up. All right, let's talk to Miami and let's get this shit done because we don't want the soap opera here. And so I think that eventually you don't want the soap opera. And I think that's, that's just the way it is with negotiations, dude. It just happens that you all the way to the deadline, and it's kind of the way it goes, bro. And then there's movement when it's all said and done. Okay, so Wynn, and what about Austin? Austin kind of had his kind of a solid start. Then there were some ups and downs, and then it looks like it's gotten a little better for him. So it looks like Austin has kind of staved everything off, and he's going to be the starting right tackle. Whereas the Eichenberg left guard thing doesn't look like he'll be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of what you expect from Austin Jackson at this point, which is you get starting caliber play. You're not going to get elite caliber play. I don't think he's going to be a top tier right tackle coming up. Like, that's not. I don't know if that's his ceiling anymore. But like, you get a high floor with Austin Jackson. You're going to get a couple messed ups. You're going to get a couple blown assignments. But like, again, that's starting caliber play. It's going to be consistently good, and every now and then he's going to get beat. But he's gonna get his lick back. He's gonna get his licks back too. Like, I think he's an improved guy. He takes a lot. I think he took a lot more heat than deserved after his rookie season. I thought year 2, Eichenberg was for sure the worst tackle or the worst lineman. And then obviously they corrected the mistake, signed Teron Armstead last year, and we just never saw Austin in order to get a real layout on him, or a real assessment of him. But he was playing well in training camp, and that is the Austin Jackson that we should remember, not the ones we saw in 21 and at the end of the 2021 season.
All right, what do you got going on ESPN so folks can check you out on ESPN? What do you got going on?
Yeah, had a lot of stories came out this past weekend. The Tua piece I was talking to y'all about, that dropped on Saturday. Really happy with how that turned out. This time around, going to be working on why the Dolphins should sign Christian Wilkins. What does this team look like without Wilkins in the middle of that D line? It ain't pretty, but that should be dropping either tomorrow or the day after.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. Marcel, as always, appreciate you, brother. Hit him straight.
Yes, sir. I'm doing my best.
Do it, baby.
This has been another session of the Welt Rheaume Miami Dolphins Report with Marcel Louis-Jacques. At Welt Rheaume, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welt Rheaume can help.
This is the Big O Show.